Thanks for choosing us. Let's settle for the details now and begin from Parliament, where MP for Domeko Sarah Joasafo and two others have been referred to the Privileges Committee of Parliament. The Speaker, Alban Badman, made the revelation on the floor this morning. The two others, MP for Ayawaso Central, Henry Kwate, and MP for Asin Central, Kennedy Japan, have been taped to be absent from Parliament without permission. Let's hear from the Speaker of Parliament for his reasons for the referral. We'll bring you that soundbite. Meanwhile, the Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak has been challenging the Speaker's decision on the floor. We'll take you live there and bring you details later here on Joy News Today with my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson. But let's move to our Living Standard series now, and we'll be telling you about how people are surviving. But just before that, so how have these MPs fared so far as far as these issues of absenteeism is concerned? We'll bring you some graphics on this and would let you know how all of this is panning out in Parliament. To our Living Standard series now, and youth in Brekusu have left their farms to venture into the Okada business and petty trading to make ends meet. Elizabeth Sechi, a housewife, set up a convenience shop to cater for her 4 children, but the business is currently grumbling due to the high prices and low patronage. There's more in our Living Standard series.
Odi kura blue 20 cities. Inti bibi okura na akwara na na me dey. Me dis can share no. Me opening dem ndi kura na obi nim say me ndidi ye.
When you plan ahead, you say tomorrow I will bring the money, tomorrow you won't come.
And upon me DJ Gary Soakins. And you come to the Gary Soakins. I'm matching to Simon to the Gary Soakins.
3 years ago, Elizabeth Sechi established a convenience shop with 1,000 cedis to provide extra money for her home. Farming business in Brekusu, a town in the Kwapim South district, has declined in recent years.
Life is not easy at Brekusu. There are no jobs. Even when you trade, no one buys.
The shop helped Elizabeth put food on her family's table. But in the face of economic challenges, there's been a drop in patronage. Shelves in her shop are almost empty because her capital cannot buy more goods.
My business is failing. My capital keeps dwindling. It is hard to explain how.
These days, she hardly goes to Accra to stock up, a chore she used to do every other weekend, but prices have risen steeply.
Goods have become so expensive. I'm unable to buy enough to stock up. When you do too, customers are always complaining that they can't afford it.
Now, her family's daily expenditure has gone up, and it is becoming hard to cater to her 4 children. She has to squeeze out 80 cedis daily just for food. Sometimes she goes hungry to ensure her children eat.
I have to cough up 60 cedis for my 3 elderly children every day. I share 20 cedis with the baby, but sometimes I go hungry so he can have enough.
A better life for families like Lizzie's is increasingly becoming difficult. Her neighbor, Hawa Fana, a Sierra Leonean with 6 children, has a tabletop shop. To make ends meet, she also braids and styles hair. But the problem is, she has to drastically cut down her prices because people in the town can hardly afford it. Some are even still in her debt.
When you send someone, say bring 15 CD, 10 CD, we say I have 7 CD or I have 5 CD. Someone we can serve, you can't bring money. When you plan ahead, you say tomorrow I will bring the money, tomorrow it won't come. Sometimes like today, so this morning I do 10 CD. Maybe before then say afternoon or in the evening, I will get again 10 CD. That will make, then I get small money to go shop with my children.
The harsh economic situation in the town has forced many young men to migrate to Accra or engage in the Okada business. Saki, a junior high school leaver, has put his education on hold to take care of his siblings.
School last year, that was 15th November.
Coming by money is difficult in this town. I completed school last year, but now I have to drop schooling and work to fend for my younger siblings.
Either a laborer's job or Okada business will do just fine. But even that, eating has become a daily struggle.
A day when 20, I'm to fail 20,
when I'm able to get 20 cedis, I can afford variety of my meals, but when there is no money, I eat Gary soakings 3 times a day.
And upon the Gary soakings, and milk 20 Gary soakings. How much also 20 Gary soakings? Many of us request manage for the whole day.
In a community where many have abandoned farming for supposed greener pastures in bigger towns, food prices are likely to climb higher, and hopes of a better standard of living in Brikusu looks dimmer.
Let's return to Parliament, where the MP for Domiko Sarah Josafo and 2 others have been referred to the Privileges Committee of Parliament. The Speaker, Alban Badbin, made the revelation on the floor this morning. The 2 others are MP for Ayawaso Central, Henry Quarte, and the MP for Asin Central, Kennedy Ejapon. They have been tipped to be absent from Parliament without permission. Let's hear from the Speaker and the reasons he gave for the referral.
In India, for example, if a member fails to attend meetings of the Lok Sabha for a period of 60 days or more without the Assembly's authorization, his or her seat may be declared vacant. Considering the fact that the 1979 and 1992 constitutions and now standing orders do not include the word consecutive in the computation of the 15 days, it is my considered view that the clear intention of the drafters of this bill is to differ from the previous computation. I admit, with all humility, that Article 97(1)(c) be read, understood, and applied as it provided for in our Constitution and standing orders without importing any word or worse thereto. I have accordingly come to the irresistible conclusion that a member who absents himself or herself from 16 sitting days of Parliament in a particular meeting without the permission writing of the Speaker is squarely within the ambit of Article 97(1)(c) of the 1992 Constitution and Order 16(1) of the Standing Orders of Parliament. I must also draw the attention of the House to a decision of the Court of Appeal dated 11 December 2008 in the case of Professor Stephen Kweku Asare versus the Attorney General and 3 others, unreported 2008, suit number H1/65/707, that is Court of Appeal. In that case, the Court of Appeal ruled that the permission granted Speaker for a member to be absent from the proceedings of the House cannot exceed 15 days at any point in time, and that it is unacceptable for Parliament to give of absence to a member for a period exceeding the 15-day threshold as envisaged under Article 97(1)(c) and the Standing Orders of Parliament. Honourable members, it is important to recall that in the book, Reap the Wild Wind.
So that's the Speaker, but the Minority Chief Whip, Muntaka Mubarak, has been challenging the Speaker's decision.
Or legal base for the accession. More when the provisions in question do not either explicitly or impliedly rope in the High Court. This is what the Appeals Court did. So, Mr. Speaker, with the greatest of respect, we agree you made a statement, but your conclusion, Mr. Speaker, they then their colleagues, as we sit in this chamber, is this. If we allow speakers to take petition from outsiders, and so more too, with petition from outsiders, to defer members of parliament to it, colleagues will be doing ourselves the great service. Because we will one day get a dictator speaker who will simply take statements from outsiders and begin to penalize individual members of parliament. It is on this basis that I call on all of us that to resist the attempt by Mr. Speaker to refer our colleagues to the privileges. And if there is justification, let us get one of us as member of parliament who is convinced that our colleagues need to do that and not to allow speaker to do this. Because today we may have a speaker that we may think will be unbiased. If we allow this to stand, it will become precedent, and tomorrow it may hurt each of us. And it is on that basis that I stand to say, Mr. Speaker, I want to come properly under Order 93.5 to say this is your decision to refer our colleagues to the privileges will be challenged with a substantive motion. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So this has definitely generated a lot of debate on the floor of Parliament, both sides responding, reacting to the Speaker's decision. We'll head to Parliament shortly, but even before then, this morning, the Member of Parliament for Tamale North, Alhassan Suhini, urged the President to remove the Dome Kwabena MP as Minister for Gender and Social Protection, which would then have some effect on her position in that ministry as well as in government. We'll be hearing from him shortly, but let's go live to Parliament now and speak to Kwesi Parker Wilson, who is our man there monitoring proceedings for us. Parker, we've heard from the Minority Chief Whip, who clearly disagrees with the Speaker. What else has happened as far as this referral is concerned?
I must say that it is not the Minority Chief Whip, Muntaka Mubarak. He's not the only one who disagrees with the Speaker. In fact, members of Parliament in the chamber strongly disagrees with the Speaker on those matters. And the majority leader, Mr. Bonsu, has made the point that when the matter is referred to the Privileges Committee, then it ends it. So their recommendation, the Privileges Committee is not supposed to bring the matter before the House for consideration. But the Speaker ruled that when the matter is considered by the Privileges Committee, they have to now refer it to the plenary for consideration. And that has sparked a heated debate among members of Parliament. I must say that the minority is still insisting that the Speaker has aired its ruling. And you know that Muntaka made the point that if they allow this to go on, then when they get an autocratic leader, the Speaker will now be dictating for members of Parliament, and that must be stopped. So for the minority side, they are strongly disagreeing with the Speaker, and the majority is also questioning a portion of the Speaker's ruling, indicating that when the Privilege Committee is done with their work, it ends it, automatically the seat must be declared vacant. So today, we know that 3 NPP MPs have been referred to the Privileges Committee, Sarah Agastafo, Kennedy Japan, and Henry Korte. And
Parker, just for clarity, is it clear what has influenced the Speaker's ruling this morning, the referral to the Privileges Committee? Is this coming on the back of the petition that was presented by the former Kumbungu MP Ras Mubarak and others, or this is an initiative of the Speaker himself?
Well, the Speaker referred to a petition, and he didn't mention the name of Ras Mubarak being the former MP for Kumbungu, and proceeded to say that the Table Office conducted a search, and they established that members of Parliament do not attend to the business of the House, which is quite worrisome. And some of them in the past had reached order 15, 16, and 17. And so for him, he's making the point that going forward, they will comply strictly with the law. So it was based on this, one, the survey, and the petition from whoever, because they didn't mention the name of the person who brought the petition, and also cited civil society organizations who are also interested in the attendance of members of parliament in the House, is the reason he made a formal communication. And I must say that the standing orders gives the Speaker of Parliament the opportunity, if you look at Order 12, it gives the Speaker the opportunity to read formal communications to the members of the House. So he came to the chamber this morning with his formal communication, which largely centered on absenteeism, and subsequently relied on the various provisions in the standing orders as against that in the Constitution, and also procedures and practices elsewhere outside the jurisdiction. And he mentioned the UK and some other areas. So these were some of the things the Speaker dwelled on to rule that the three MPs should be referred to the Privileges Committee because they have breached the standing orders, particularly Order 17, which indicates that if you absent yourself for more than 15 sittings without permission from the Speaker, your conduct should be referred to the Privileges Committee, and subsequently your seat must be declared vacant.
Parker, this has just started. We'll return to you when there's a development on this. Thank you for the update. So how have these MPs fared within the period under question? Let's check the details as we have secured a copy of the proceedings, records and proceedings of Parliament. Our research decks pulled this out. And so we start with Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong. He was present in 4 out of 28 sittings and was absent without permission for 24 out of 28 sittings, and clearly this is in breach of what the Constitution says. His longest consecutive absence without permission, more than 15 consecutive sitting threshold, was 19 sittings. That's from October 26, 2021 to November 25, 2021. Within this meeting, Mr. Ken Ohene-Agyapong has never been absent without permission. So this is what we know as far as Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong is concerned. And so he has never been absent with permission. He has never been absent with permission within the period. Now for Sarah Adwoa-Safo, we are looking at October to December 2021 meeting, and she was present in 2 out of 28 sittings, was absent with permission in 7 out of the 28 sittings, and absent without permission in 19 out of the 28 sittings. Her longest consecutive absence without permission in the period under review was 13 sittings. That's from 26th October to 16th November. So this is the period within which you're looking at it. And Henry Korte, who is the MP for Ayawaso, Henry was present in 5 out of 28 sittings and was absent without permission in 23 out of 28 sittings. His longest consecutive absence without permission, that's more than the 15 consecutive sitting threshold, was 19 sittings. And that was within the period of October 26 to November 25, 2021. He was never absent with permission. And so that is what we know as far as these 3 MPs are concerned. The issue has been referred to the Privileges Committee. We will be bringing you an update in our subsequent bulletins on what happens. We know that the MPs are opposed to this, but the Member of Parliament for Tamale North, Alhassan Suini, is wondering why President Akufo-Addo is yet to sack Sarah Adwoa-Safo as Gender Minister. Adwoa-Safo, who is Member of Parliament for Dobe Kwabenya, has been out of the country for a while now, a situation that has been contentious both in Parliament and in government, and even within her constituency. Her position as Gender Minister is currently being taken care of by Cecilia Abnadapa, the Minister for Sanitation. Alhassan Suhini was speaking on the AM show, says the President must sack her.
I've heard the majority leader suggest that Sarah Adwoa-Safo will be called before the Privileges Committee. Privileges Committee. He says push has come to shove, and right now their hands are tied. That was the very next thing I was. Yes, I think that they have the right to do that. But personally, Benjamin, personally, before I will support, the Privileges Committee and Parliament, to do anything about Adwoa Safo's presence or absence in Parliament. I think that we all must demand that His Excellency the President does something about her decision to abandon the ministry.
You mean the Ministry for Gender?
Yes, the executive arm of government must do what it has to do about her absence.
Which is what?
He is the appointing authority.
But she hasn't abandoned her post.
He is the appointed.
He has appointed someone to stand in.
I am saying
he has appointed someone to stand in the gap.
I
believe it is Cecilia Abena Dapa, the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources.
She has simply abandoned post.
I'll give you time.
She has abandoned post, and to not punish her and not allow her to still draw salary, because once you have appointed somebody to be acting, she's still the substantive minister. And then expect Parliament, which is the legislative arm of government, to punish her or do something is unfair.
So in other words, it's a dereliction of duty.
It's a dereliction of duty.
He's letting you do his work.
I am saying that Parliament will also do its part, but let the executive not derelict its duty of ensuring that Sarah Adwoa Safo is called to order. Okay. Then Parliament can also take it from there.
But the Member of Parliament for English, Batiano, a man from Sylvester Tete, disagrees with Suhuyini. He says Adwoa Safo has been granted leave of absence, and hence the President shouldn't sack her.
Adwoa Safo is not a minister because she's a Member of Parliament.
Now we know our constitution also has its own dictates when it comes to even the ministers and what pool will come out of Parliament.
Exactly, it has not been established that she has been selected or chosen by the President to be a Minister of State because she's a Member of Parliament.
It's been established.
It hasn't been.
It is.
It hasn't been. It hasn't been.
It's been established.
No, please.
You want me to explain to you how?
No. I don't need you to explain to me. It is obvious that there are ministers of state who are not members of Parliament.
Right.
But she makes.
So Adwoa Safo can today be removed from Parliament and will continue to be a minister of state.
Please let her. I just want to. She forms part of the composition that the Constitution requires the President to draw from Parliament.
No,
she's part of that.
And that was what I was averting your mind to.
If you take her out, it doesn't defeat that composition of the ministers that should be drawn from Parliament.
Right.
It hasn't. So you cannot say that for a fact, because if you require more than 50%. The number of ministers from Parliament today, take away Adwoa Safo, it will not defeat that constitutional requirement.
Right.
So for that reason, you cannot say that the executive might take a decision before an action before Parliament does.
So no. it doesn't work.
In any case, the presidency had issued a statement that they've granted her leave of absence, and it's normal in administrative setup.
Right.
And the caretaker minister has been appointed.
But is it not interesting that up to now we still do not know the basis on which this has been? I mean, what is? Don't you think the good people, if not of Ghana generally, of Domikwabe, need to know what is going on with the Member of Parliament?
It's a legitimate question to ask as to why her long absence from the ministry.
Right.
I don't fault anybody asking that. But the presidency or the executive knows. That is why they've issued a formal statement granting her leave of absence.
Right.
And we should take it as such. If Parliament has a responsibility to punish Adwoa Safo for a long absence without approval or permission from Parliament, that should not be in sync with what decision the executive takes.
Let's go to the North Hall here in Accra, where many stranded and frustrated parents are working against time to get their children enrolled into the senior high school. According to the Ministry of Education, more than 130,000 individuals are expected to go through the self-placement system, but the process has proven difficult for many of these stranded parents and students alike. Some parents say their children are frustrated. In one such situation, a parent says his child contemplated suicide after being denied placement. My colleague Michael Papaniashale was there earlier today.
You're not worried about that? My daughter is swollen. It nearly take a drug, killing herself. So I'm pleading for them to help me to get to school for my daughter. The daughter name is Ohinewa Princess Ohinewa Jaba. Okay. So please help me to get school for her. I'd really love to meet her. Is she around yes. Here? She could come here. Let me speak to her briefly. Ohinewa, Daddy tells me that of your 6 schools, you did not get any of them. I mean, how did that make you feel when you checked? You didn't get any of the schools that you chose?
Oh, I was very sad. Yeah. I mean, so to what extent, what were your expectations when you, after writing the BT, you saw a result? What were your expectations?
I thought I'll get my first choice or my second choice, but actually I didn't get none of them.
Some of your friends went to school yesterday, and you are still here, don't even know your fate. How does that make you feel? Does it compound your sadness?
Yes.
Right now that you've come here, what are you hoping to get out of this?
Well, I hope I'll get a school, a better school.
Yeah. But Daddy tells me that you were going through suicidal tendencies. Tell me about that. Why were you decide to end it all?
Oh, when I didn't get school, I thought maybe I'll go and write again. But my dad is helping me to get a school, so I'm bold and I'm sure I'll get a school.
Of the 3 schools that you choose, which of them are you hoping to actually get into?
Every sector.
Why that school?
That school is very, the teachers teach very well, and I would like to go to that school.
Anyway, I wish you all the best. Going to that school. So that's Apostle and his daughter, Ohinewa there. He tells me of the sad story that she was contemplating suicide after finding out that she wasn't going to get another school. I have another parent here. How long have you been coming here?
Sorry, I'm not a parent. I'm a headmaster.
Okay. So as a headmaster, what are you doing here today?
I have compiled my students who want to change their program to do TVET programs in the selected technical schools. And to relieve the burden from the parents, I have to take the trouble and come and seek for placement for them.
I see. But why are you doing it yourself? Usually when they are choosing the school, I think the 5th choice compulsory is supposed to be a TVET school. In the first place, what school are you talking about?
I'm talking about pure technical schools.
Okay. What school are you headmaster of?
I am a headmaster Prince Batiano.
Okay.
But the problem is, sometimes the students may choose the school when the placement is in, but later they change their mind. In my case, they chose pure secondary schools, but later they go home and realize they are technical oriented. And they wanted to change their program, and we have to understand them. Sometimes we were advising them, but they don't take it. Later they realize they have to change it to their their talent. So this is what I am doing. I am here to change all those who want to do technical programs to the technical school.
And what's the feedback we're getting from the authorities here?
Yeah, the arrangement is very good. It's very simple. We have to praise the secretariat who is doing this. They have programmed it to the extent that as soon as you come, you complain, and they will receive your complaint and feed it into the computer and tell you to go home, so that within 3 or 4 days you can get a message from them that they have done it for you. And I think that is not putting us into any pressure.
Former rector of GIMPA, Professor Philip Ebo Bonzi Simpson, is pushing for a change in the computer placement system at the senior high school level. He wants heads of schools to be allowed to admit students into the schools, just as authorities at the basic and tertiary levels are allowed to do. Speaking at the Infansipim Stakeholders Conference in Cape Coast, the founding dean of the UCC Law Faculty indicated the computer placement school system was destroying the traditions of schools and hurting the schools more than helping to build them.
Bonzi Simpson believes the system is unfair and destroying the traditions of the school. Apart from the human interferences in the process, there are putting many stakeholders of the school at a greater disadvantage.
If in Ghana, out of all the levels of school, it's only secondary school that there's computer placement, there is a time for us to evaluate it. Those computers who operate them, is it not human beings? Is it not human beings? The school authorities, the headmaster, should be allowed within a certain framework, a majority, of course, on merit. But there's a place for all students. There's a place for the church. There's a place for children of staff. There's a place, a small portion for protocol. The school authorities should be allowed within a certain framework to admit their own students. And who said when they were admitting their own students, they were admitting chaff? And who said when computer admits them, they are necessarily admitting geniuses? There's need for evaluation and even fanciful. And at a stakeholders conference like this, we can't make that case. Then indeed, Ghana is the poorer for it. But fanciful will make that case, and Ghana will be the richer for it.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Business on Joy News today. My name is Beverly Broom. The Ghana Standards Authority will begin rolling out some standardization programs for local innovations which have the potential of solving global challenges. According to the Director General of the authority, Professor Alex Dodu, this would deal with issues relating to patents.
You need to have, for me I call it a family conversation, on how to bring those who are working. I mean, take Swami Awe or Makola or any of the informal markets, and we are dead as a country. So why are we not figuring out what it takes? And they are organized. If you go to Swami alone, you get at least 200 different associations, all with their heads and with their constitutions. If you go to Makola, the Queen Mothers are organized. We just haven't thought of how they think, because let's face it, we have also been biased. We just take the Western model and think it works. Asusu and Co have worked that, later they came and called it microfinance. Now we say it's microfinance. I mean, it's frustrating because we have good things. And I know as university people, you guys will blame us, and you are right, that we, the professors, haven't probably domesticated these things enough, or rather, having used the traditional wisdom and given it a scientific explanation. And in fact, my final point would be that look at Veronica Bucket. A Ghanaian creation. We did not give it an exciting name. We did not give it a patent. And the whole world is using it. But the poor Madame Vero, she's still around. She's alive. She didn't get 1 penny from it. I mean, it's painful. If she had been of a different color, trust me, we would have said, wow, V bucket and the whole world, and we'll import it. And so it's really that we have everything, but we just need to position them well, work with each other, especially those who come with the ideas, and most of whom will tend not to have a degree, but they are creative, they are blessed with the creativity, and help to formalize it. And then if we do that, and definitely the Standards Authority has said that we are coming up with standards for those products. I mean, we've started already, and this year we'll roll them out so that they can have at least a mark saying that this is standardized. That would give confidence, and that would definitely give market access. If they start making their money, they will also send their children to school to manage their businesses and keep some of us unemployed.
Star Assurance Ghana says its new product, the Pokua Insurance, a virtual assistant, is open to all customers. Now, according to the Chief Executive Officer, Batiano Bafo Ewa, the company remains committed to leveraging technology to make insurance easier and convenient.
At the launch, the Chief Executive Officer of Star Assurance noted that the company will continue to invest in digital tools to expand its operations. She explained that the Pokua Insurance is not only limited to smartphone customers, but other phone users to access the services, as well as direct brokers, agents, and other partners who do businesses with the company. Here's the Chief Executive Officer for the company, Batiano Bafo Ewa.
Our biggest thing is we want to ensure that insurance reaches everybody. As you know, the insurance penetration is very low, and Pokua has both the USSD and the WhatsApp Insure. So even if you can't go on WhatsApp, you always have the option of using your YAM phone or any other phone, and you get the same services end to end, very easy. You can buy insurance policies, you can renew insurance policies, as well as lodge your claim and check the process, at what point your claims is at.
She explained the uniqueness of the product and the need to embark on such innovative ways of reaching out to its customers.
Now, what makes Pokua different from other virtual assistants in the market is that we've actually taken into consideration our intermediaries, which is our brokers and our agents, and they can actually do the policies for their clients through Pokua. So that is something that is different from other insurance companies who have launched their virtual assistants.
Procure Insurance is a strategic approach by the company to reach out to the insuring public.
Sigil Ghana Limited, dealer in HLP branded products from India, says it will support the Ghanaian economy through the creation of job opportunities. The company, in a meeting with local dealers, said it was poised to leverage various opportunities presented to them to expand and cushion the teeming unemployed youth. Milan Garud is the Chief Executive Officer of Sigil Ghana Limited.
At the company's meeting with earth dealers in the country, they revealed plans to expand earth operations to other parts of the country. The Ghanaian-based Indian company vowed to partner other companies in that quest. Here's the Chief Executive Officer for the company, Milan Garud.
Trip to India for the dealers making maximum number of business. We'll come out with the figures and we will reach you personally for details. Meanwhile, before we close, I will request you to join us for dinner at the restaurant. The floor is open for the questions now, if you have any.
Sigil Ghana Limited says it will also digitize its operations and promote small-scale businesses.
That'll be all for business now. Kindly log on to myjoyonline.com/business for more stories. Up next is sports.
Up next is Showbiz. My name is KMJ. Actor and Ghanaian Hollywood actor now, Chris Atto, has been speaking about the intention to write a book. He spoke about this on Showbiz A to Z over the weekend.
I am thinking about it. In fact, reach out to some writers right now. If you're out there and you can help me put this into, something, why not? I've spoken about it with a number of publishing houses, so we might be working on something. I just feel like the journey is not done, and there may be a few more things that I want to do and add to the chapters before actually writing it out. But I'm hoping that whatever I've gone through can touch somebody's life in a positive way.
And that's Chris Atto on Showbiz A to Z over the weekend. Away from that, veteran broadcaster Tommy Annan-Forson has waded into the conversation of Chris Rock and Will Smith situation. It says Chris Rock went too far as a comedian.
Uncle Tom, yo, would you slap somebody for love?
In fact, I'll add the E to it. I think the E slap.
Wow.
Well, I think it actually depends on the depth of what the person is talking about. You see, what's her name gave a very good analysis of her perspective on the issue.
Yeah.
But you see, as a comedian, this is where I probably would disagree with
Whitney.
Yeah, no, not Whitney.
No, Whitney.
What Will Smith said.
Will Smith, okay.
Yeah, about the fact that you're supposed to take up all that nonsense that people are talking about. But you see, we're all human with different emotions. We react differently to everything that happens. Like Whitney rightly said, it could be pent-up emotions.
Yeah.
Okay. But for me, as somebody who has done comedy, I think that you don't take anybody for granted. You should know your parameters. You should know which line to cross, and how to react to certain things. And like Whitney rightly said, pent-up emotions and stuff like that. I think personally that Chris went a little too far, in that, you see, here's a lady who has cherished her whole body, including her hair and what have you. And so for you to suffer from this disease, if I should use that word, obviously is devastating. Okay? I remember you saying that before we started the show that, she could have worn a wig. But everybody, again, like you rightly said, could react differently. Skins react differently to everything.
And veteran broadcaster Tommy Annan-Forson on Showbiz A to Z over the weekend. That'll be all for Showbiz. My name is KMG. For more updates, please log on to www.myjoyonline.com.
And that's our package for this afternoon. Many thanks for your company. Please log on to myjoyonline.com. You'll find many stories there. Charles IT is next with the marketplace.